Good evening and welcome to Report Desk Africa, where we analyze some of the hottest stories that have made waves on the continent during the week. Whether you're watching us from Cape to Cairo or from the west to the Horn of Africa and the east, this is Report Desk Africa. My name is Bernard Akede.
And my name is Blessings Mosugu. And together today we'll be looking into West Africa, Nigeria to be precise. NSAS is what we'll be looking at, but in a different way. The Lagos State Judicial Panel on Restitution for the Victims of the SARS-related abuses and other matters has released a 309-page result, which has generated loads of reactions. And we'll be talking about this here today.
Definitely, we will be talking about this here today. And Blessings, for me, most interesting are the guests who will be talking about it with us.
Yes, I really can't wait. I really can't wait. Because there's been a lot of mixed reactions, especially since the report came out, whether it leaked or not leaked. So we need to know what's happening, and I can't wait for the guests to come.
All right, we both can't wait for the guests to come. We'll be going on this quick break, and when we come back, there'll be so much to talk about and so much to discuss concerning Report Desk Africa. Do stay with us.
Office this afternoon to begin to put closure to a very important matter that affected the state. Pursuant to the powers conferred on Mr. Governor, he set up this tribunal to look into SARS-related abuses in Lagos State. Shortly after the panel was inaugurated, the terms of reference was also expanded to include the incident at the Lekki toll gate. The panel has sat for almost a year, and they are come today, Mr. Governor, to present the outcome of their sittings for the past 1 year before Mr. Governor, as is contained in the enabling law. Therefore, with the kind permission of Mr. Governor, we'll invite the chairman of the panel, the Honorable Justice Okuobi, to make the presentation. Thank you very much.
Mr. Governor, I hereby present 2 volumes of the report of the panel. This volume is the Lagos State Judicial Panel of Inquiry on Restitution for Victims of SARS-related abuses and other matters, consolidated report on general police brutality cases.
Now, what you just saw was the panel, Judicial Panel of Restitution, presenting the results of the reports that they had put together to the Governor of Lagos State, Southwest Nigeria. If you do not understand what that was about, here's the breakdown. Now, in November 2020, a panel of inquiry was set up to look into the happenings of the 20th of October at the Lekki toll gate. Now, the panel was to consist of legal practitioners, youth representatives, and different people from all walks of life. But after a while, some of the youth representatives backed out for some reason bordering on ethics of the panel and morality. Now, after 13 months since the incident, a report has been leaked or supposedly leaked to the public about the findings of the panel. Now, this was hours after the panel presented its reports on the Lekki shooting incident and the police brutality cases to the Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. And while the majority of Nigerians are high-spirited or are in high spirit from the findings of this panel, a question or several questions of authenticity of this particular report is on the lips of many, especially since some errors have been picked after scrutiny.
And also, to continue from there, a member of the Lagos State Judicial Panel of Inquiry, Temitope Majekodumi, is also a youth representative on the panel, has shed light on why there are errors in the leaked NSAS report. He says the report in circulation had typographical errors, but they were corrected before it was approved and submitted to the governor, that's Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Now, he also alluded to the fact that the copy in circulation is not far from the copy that was submitted. The news also has it that upon receiving this report, Mr. Sanwo-Olu set up a 4-man committee to look into the report within 2 weeks and bring forward the white paper that will be considered at the Lagos State Executive Council and that will be presented as the white paper coming from the panel of inquiry. Now, here on Report Desk Africa today, we'll be looking into this report, the recommendations made from this leaked report, and the authenticity of the report.
And to look into this report with us, we are joined by our very own senior news editor, Jubril Folami, and he will be alongside the senior news producer, Bimbo Awoyele. These are some of the people who work the magic behind the scene. It's good to have the gentlemen here with us this evening. Good morning. Good evening, Jubril. Good evening, Bimbo.
Probably you're trying to use the military palace. Good morning, Bernard. Good morning, Blessing.
That works.
Yes, that definitely works. Now, we're joining straight into the meat of the conversation. 13 months after, are we satisfied with the panel, with what the panel has brought forward? Whether or not this report was leaked, are we satisfied? Bimbo, you go first. Jubril, feel free to jump in where you're not satisfied with what Bimbo is saying.
Okay. Well, I think you've really laid down the groundwork. You've done some of the, brought us from where we were coming from to where we are right now. First of all, we need to agree that this is a leaked and unsubstantiated as well as uncorroborated report that we are basing all our judgments on. And unfortunately, it has sort of, been accepted by a lot of people, even up onto, even to the United Nations. Everybody, who is anybody, who was part of that NSAS movement has reacted to this report. And if you remember, then even Mrs. Obama then, had the, everybody, was all about the NSAS thing. And I think they didn't do Lagos State, I'm referring to Lagos State right now, didn't really help matters by waiting up until yesterday. I think it was when they released the report asking people, to be a bit calm over the issue and not rubbish, all the works that had been done. But they have not outrightly come out to say it's all garbage. So I guess some parts of it are true, some parts of it are not. Until the final white paper comes out, then we will know what is and what is not. But I think, with what we have, it will not be totally out of place, to base some of our judgments on the things that they have put out. It's a very voluminous report, more than 200 pages.
Yeah, about 309 pages.
Yes. Yeah. More than 200 pages of that report was about the investigations. The findings is just about 20 pages.
Exactly.
The findings, the outcome, the inference and the findings is just about 20 pages. But I think, the extent of work and investigations they did, I think, they did quite a commendable job.
Okay, so Jubril, for me, I think it's difficult for any, and you must confess, and even you, I put it to you, I'm not a lawyer, but I put it to you that even you at some point must have felt a little bit sympathy when this report practically came out. But, professionally, you covered, a lot of the NSAS protests, including the judicial panel as well. Why do you think we should not trust, or do you think we should trust or rely on the results of this report? Bimbo has said some of this report actually looks authentic, but now for some people to come out and say it was leaked, it's difficult not to trust what we've seen.
All right, Bernard, I could agree with you, but let me lay a foundation for us. I covered the proceedings from the beginning, from day one, and I want to base my discussion this afternoon based on the fact that it's a leaked report. Looking at the work the judicial panel
Sorry, I will interrupt you. We cannot confirm yet if it's leaked or not.
No, it's a leaked report. That's why it's leaked. We don't know whether it's authentic or not. So we're discussing that report based on the fact that it's leaked. but we don't know whether it's true or not.
Okay.
But from my experience while covering the panel, I will agree that the Justice Okwobu-led panel did a thorough and meticulous job during the panel. No doubt about that. I can tell authorities that we normally start the panel around 9 a.m., 10 a.m. sometimes, and we don't close until 4 p.m., 5 p.m. 3 days. We start with 3 days and later to 4 days and like that. And most times we do have like 13 cases listed for hearings and the rest like that. But when you look at the extent of work done by the panel, and when you see the contradiction in that particular report that is being leaked or circulated, you will ask yourself, this cannot emanate from Justice Okwobu's panel.
When you say contradiction, what kind of contradictions?
So many things. One of the things I will quickly bring to fore, I'll give you like about 10 of it. Because I read the report from page 1 to the last page. I give you the example of Nathaniel. Yes. Nathaniel appeared. This is the diary I used to cover the NSAS panel, the judicial panel. That's why I brought it. Nathaniel appeared as a witness concerning that his brother was killed at a point, and he came as a witness. In that report, he was listed as one of the deceased. There is another case of this guy, and he was given money at the end of the day, a dead person, and someone that's alive that was classified dead. Another one is the case of, I take particular interest in this particular one, Joshua, who was shot at Aja on the 20th of October. But it was reported in that report that he was shot on the 22nd of, on the 21st of October, which is not part of the Lekki Tollgate Burara at all. Also, when you look at the submissions of Professor Bafunwa, and when you look at the submissions of the forensic expert brought by the panel itself, I think they brought one which came from, I can't get the name now, but I'll try and get it. Sentinel Forensic, and also another forensic expert by the Judicial, by the Lagos State government. They were able to categorically tell us that there was no particular evidence concerning that anybody was killed at that Lekki Tollgate. Let me give you the report of Professor Bafunwa, the forensic pathology expert in Lagos State. When he was saying, he said 99 people were brought. This is part of the leaked report. The 99 corpses were brought to them, and they did forensic whatever on all the 99 corpses, but it's only one. Oh no, he said 3 came from Lekki Tollgate, and out of the 3, it's only one that had gunshot injury or died from the gunshot injury. This is one dead or one death that we can say, okay, came from Lekki Tollgate, which is sad enough, quite sad enough. But is it enough to say there was a massacre at that particular Lekki Tollgate incident? So there are a lot of discrepancies when you look at the entire report. I can go on and say some of the things we saw in that part while the panel was going on, and some of the things the report is giving us. So there are a lot of contradiction that is giving somebody a sense of, okay, are we going to say that this report actually emanated from Justice Okwobu-led panel?
Okay, Jubril, now we were made to understand that the forensic experts were not given enough access to cover this report as much as they would have wanted to. So do you think that this had anything to do with that?
Well, for us at the panel when we were covering it, they did not allude to that. When you go back to that report, this same report that's being leaked, it was clearly stated, I think page 60 or thereabout. Look at the reports by all those forensic experts. They never said they never had enough time. They were able to even conclude on some of the things that were brought to them that, okay, yes, live ammunitions were fired. Fantastic. Yes, but when they shot at people, they were not able to ascertain that. And they said, okay, yes, we agree. Just like Brigadier Ibrahim said, the man that represented the army, he said that, yes, we agreed. We fired live ammunitions to the air, but we were not shooting at the protesters. And that's exactly what the forensic experts also corroborated. So you cannot say that they didn't have enough time to work. But now we need to ask ourselves, we need to detach ourselves from being emotional on this matter. We are journalists, and we need to present the facts. It's not about if a person should die in any protest. It's sad enough. But are we going to say that everything we have said there is true? I want to disagree. Looking at the caliber of people in that panel, talking about Justice Okwobu's Okwobi, talking about Adigbogu as senior advocate of now, and the rest like that, you will not imagine a report coming out having names of dead people without their surnames in front of it.
But
and all through the panel, all the blessing, all through the panel, all those people listed in that report as deceased, we never saw a family member coming out to claim that they actually lost somebody at that Lekki incident. So it's a whole lot of emotions and a whole lot of questions that we need to ask. If this is actually the report from Justice Okuwobi retired panel, then it calls for questioning.
Okay, so does it count for anything that it was stated that, according to what Temitope Majekodunmi said, that this is not, what was actually leaked is not far from the truth? Bimbo, what would you have to say about that? Yeah,
the expression, the term far from the truth, is, I'm thinking of the best way to put it. I think it's just trying to be very, very careful by saying not far from the truth. Because if you look at all that Jubril has said, there seems to be too much to the left of the truth than it is to the right of the truth. And I think that is where the problem is. We need to ask ourselves then, because to everything there is a motive. For those who said there was a massacre, they were intentional with their words, and the word massacre stuck. And for those who said no, that's not what it is, but yes, we're acknowledging that people died, but I want to disabuse the use of the word massacre. They have their intentions as well.
As a matter of fact, I think people should go back to the dictionary to look at the word massacre or genocide.
I mean, the word massacre was, they had to define it even in the report. They had to define it into the report before, that particular copy of the report that we are now even basing this conversation on, kind of corroborated that, yes, there was a massacre.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
But very quickly,
we can't move forward until we have the right. But then you have to, where was going actually was, you have to ask yourself, why did X people or XYZ amount of people decide to leak this document?
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the, one thing that we really need to ask ourselves.
Okay.
Why do we have a copy of this document leaked out in the public, whether leaked or intentionally or whatever?
Well, there's so many conspiracy theories that have been going around. I don't know if we can dwell on this one. Now, one of the conspiracy theories about why the result may have been leaked has it that the reports may actually have been leaked so that the original is seen by the public before it could be doctored or adulterated by the government. True, false?
Then let me take you up on that. Let me quickly jump on that. One thing, we need to understand process. A panel of inquiry like this has a process. What is the process? The first thing is a sitting governor or a president will set up a panel of inquiry to look at a particular matter. And the members of the panel will be drawn from the public that will not be biased, and they will take oath of office. They are not allowed to divulge anything in that during the process, and they will submit the findings to the governor or to the president, who will set up another committee to issue a white paper. So why can't we have this process to finish before we leak this report? I must say this, that with due respect, one of the panel members came out shortly after that report was submitted to Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and what was he saying? He said, if they don't reveal the real copy, is going to do this and this. You can't threaten the state government. You're a part of the panel. You should wait. If you don't have any ulterior motive, no, this is not about emotions. This is about following the due process. And if you have agreed to be a part of the panel, you should wait till the end, then you can go back and say, okay, this is what you said in your white paper. I disagree with this. So we must realize that we belong to this country, and we must protect the integrity of the country first before our personal or emotional opinions.
So the panel made a total of 32 recommendations, right? I wouldn't want to read everything, but I'll just read as as many as I can. Now, the report recommended that the Lekki Tollgate Plaza be made a memorial site for the protest, for obvious reasons. It also recommended that October 20th of every year be made a toll-free day at the plaza as long as the tollgate exists. And then holistic police reforms covering welfare, training, and proper equipping of policemen and their working environment. Also, development of more robust engagement between the youth and the government, and many more. Now, the question is, will the state and federal government implement these recommendations from the report?
Can they even implement all these recommendations?
I think there are things that are quite reasonable. I don't think any of the recommendations are outlandish or are things that that they cannot align with. But we still have to go back to the authenticity of this report, upon which a lot of what our issue is, and I quite understand where Jubril is coming from. About we have to wait for due process, but part of the challenges that Nigerians are having is the integrity of government, and we know the side that government has leaned towards in this matter throughout. And there might be, a scare that, when they get the report, they might decide, to ask the panel, to expunge XYZ things. You've seen documents that were redacted, and when they give them to you, you just see black lines all over, in so many places. You cannot, and that will be what will be in the file and the archives for everybody in the world to see. And even though you might want to ask a panelist, to wait for the white paper, perhaps what they whoever is involved in leaking this document should have done is to wait for the white paper to be released. And if you disagree with it, you also have a copy.
Okay.
You have a copy, then release your copy, and then let us, debate the issue.
Okay, I'm sorry, Bimbo, I have to interrupt you here. We have just about 1 minute. In 30 seconds, to both of you and Jubril, now we know that implementation, like you clearly have emphasized, is going to be an issue, or we hope it will not be an issue. But already we are seeing agitations from certain people, certain members of the youth, particularly those who spearheaded this particular protest. One of such persons filed the bad guy, that's Folami Jubril, and he came out on Instagram with very, very strong words, saying that eventually, you people made us feel like these things didn't happen. If these are not implemented, what should we be scared of? In 30 seconds.
Yeah, let me just say this. I don't see all those recommendations being implemented. You know why? There was a particular recommendation there that said some people should be tried. Out of the people that they said they should be tried is Brigadier Taiwo, who is now a general. And why was in that report they said it should be tried based on the fact that there was a massacre in Lekki and there were no evidences to prove there was a massacre. So on what basis are you going to try an innocent Nigeria, presumed innocent Nigeria, in the court of law?
We're sorry to do this to you guys. We're sorry to do this to you, Jubril, and to do this to you, Bimbo. We have to come back on this conversation possibly next week. But sorry, we have to sign up.
Yeah, it's to be honest, it's a very dicey situation, right? And it looks like this report is bringing solace to some people, but then others are saying that if it's not valid enough, then don't release it.
Then don't release it. And that is where it's a lot of back and forth. Yeah. But that's where we have to leave it. If it's not valid, don't release it. We may just be visiting this topic again next week. Join us again. My name is Bernard Akede, and this definitely has been a very, very interesting session of Report Desk Africa.
And my name is Blessings Mosugu. Thank you so much for joining us. See you next week.